All right. Welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience, Targeted Individual Programming. All right. See, now that I'm on my other phone, my old phone, I can do this. There you go. And it still records, right? And again, you see the white Caucasian woman. Again, look at my videos past couple of days. They've been using white women, right? And then they started, whenever I start mentioning the bicycle theme or what have you, right? The whole bisexual theme, that's what I'm talking about. When I talk about you have some of our women who are of a certain mindset and are willing to compromise their integrity, their sexuality, their health, sexual health, psychological health, physical health, right? Just to be seen as one of the cool, he wants to be the cool girl, that's cool with everybody, right? Particularly when it comes to being in white spaces. And you have white men that will take advantage and screw them because, to be honest, they know the truth. White men, they want to at least sleep with a couple of black women, right? It's their fetish. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of our sisters also love to be fetishized, right? A lot of our sisters love to be fetishized by white men. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's not all, right? But that's most of them. And some of our women, just like some of the men, you look at Hollywood, when they want to get that role, those gay, bisexual, white producers turn them out. You know what I'm saying? You want to get this role, you gotta give me that booty. All right? Same thing with women, and particularly with black women. Okay? This is what they fail to understand. When you sacrifice your integrity, yourself, your health, for certain things, there's always a trade-off. And that trade-off, when it comes with black people doing these things, is always going to be negative. Always going to be negative. Okay? And so, like I said, you have this where you want to be liked and you want everybody to like you. People despise you. That's what you don't understand. Because they see the fakeness. They see the fakeness. If they can get you to do drugs, if they can get you to engage in sexual activities that, because you are not that way, but you want to be that way because you think it's cool and they're doing it, so you got to do it too. That's why fathers are so important. That's why black fathers is so important. And fathers, period, is so important. Right? And fathers who understand what's going on, who care. To be able to see these things because, like I said, our society is being nudged in a way that, most people cannot see and cannot understand. When you look at particularly liberal states, white racist liberals, with their eugenics movement, right? With the transhumanist movement. Right? It is to cause confusion within the society, to get the people, the masses of people, to engage in all sorts of debauchery. And again, I'm saying the word debauchery because that's what the word they used to use. But I would say, getting people to engage in over sexual acts. You see the movies in porn, you have people within the lower classes of society mimicking the exact same thing, right? But where did that come from? About swingers parties of the wealthy. They go to swingers party or they do orgies and stuff like that. But in order to, like I said, in order to create a society in which the vast majority are powerless, but they engage in such acts that like the wealthy do, right? But they have to understand the wealthy, they have money. They have money. And the majority of them are married. Okay? They are married. All right? You got to look at where that culture comes from. You know, when you know, that's why there are certain. You ever notice? It's a wheelchair theme again, right? I want you to pay attention, right? When I talk about when you see certain themes, right? So, what was I saying? Yeah. So, for example, you see how within the black community, particularly black Negropean women, you know, they want to bring the stripper culture into the home and into the community, into society, right? They want to bring the prostitution culture and make it acceptable within the society, by having a transactional mindset, right? And they don't see themselves. They try to change the definition of what a prostitute is, right? You'll hear them. Oh, well, you know, if you want this, you got to fly me out. You got to spend, you know, a bag on me and stuff like that. That's prostitution. That's straight up. That's what it is. But why are they allowed to get away with it? Right? Why are they allowed to get away? And why is it that it is the men who are being punished? Because the men are giving them what they want. Right? The men are, look, New York Predators Dept, all the way down. It's funny how when I mention them, they start showing up, right? Look, don't hide your face, bro. Don't hide your face. Oh, it's a female, dyke. Say these say dyke. What I just said, the bisexual lesbian theme. They're throwing out a lot of themes today, but it's okay because sometimes, like I said, they'll engage in certain themes and then they'll do a combination. You guys heard me say this many times. Yeah, as I was saying, right? And the men are being charged with sex trafficking. How is it sex trafficking? When these women willingly and willfully agreed, not only that, but they signed NDAs. Right? Like I always say, how is it that they never went after Hugh Hefner? They never went after the owner of Penthouse magazine. Right? Near part of the department. Look, I keep saying, they keep showing up. Look at them, look at them. Look at them. They're feeling themselves. Right? So how is it that they never went after those rock stars who talk about sleeping with 15-year-olds, the fecal department of New York? New York Predators Dept and the fecal department of New York. One after the next. Right? So how is it that? Look, damn. What's going on here? I tell you. It's all a show of force. You know? They think I'm gonna attack people. Again, that's their false narrative. Right? That's because I've never done that, never did in my entire life. Never attacked anybody. But they have, though. They have. Right? They have attacked people for exercising their rights. They've attacked people because their ego got hurt, got bruised, because a person stand up for their rights. They have attacked black men just because we're black. Okay? So like I said, they will always try to transfer their narrative of who they are onto us. Right? With those within the society. You got to understand how America works, and the white supremacist works, and the system works, and how the society works. You got to understand that. So anyhow, you can start pulling on his bag. Right? Oh yeah. And you know, you got to understand that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. If I got distracted, right? And I keep saying, you got to look at it. Here's another thing. How was it that they don't go after these predator real estate agents who steal black people home? Right? How is it that they don't criminalize that? Look. Look, they showing up a lot. Let me tell you, New York Predators Dept. What's that? 3231? Oh, number 32. 3231. Right? Peace. So yeah, like I said, how is it that they don't criminalize that? Because when it's being done to black people, it is okay. Oh no, 370. I thought it was number 32. 67th precinct, one of the major predator precincts in Brooklyn. 67th, 71st precinct. What's the other one? Anyway, I'm sure when they show up, I'll mention it to you guys. Look. And they all turning in front of me. Look. They all turning in front of me. You see that? Now, why is that? They all turning in front of me. Right? Hilarious. But yeah. One of the, like I said, back to what I was saying, they don't ever criminalize when white people in mass do things to hurt black people, steal from black people, abuse black people. They don't pass any laws against the hatred against black people. I should say the hatred against black. They don't pass no laws. Look at the white woman. Look. So I saw her standing there. All right. It got delivered. Let me tell you, they time these things. All right. It may seem as if it's coincidence, but it's not. Okay. And how you know it is not? Because when you start to see when I start to mention about how to use white women, a lot of times you see them coming out the building as I'm coming out and doing stuff like that. Look. Right? Understand what it is that they do. Anyhow, yeah, so, right? They don't pass any laws, but let something happen to a Jewish person, then they pass anti-Semitic laws. Let something happen to an Asian person, and again, and it is when white people do things to other groups of people, they pass laws, anti-Asian laws, anti-Semitic laws. But when they do it to us as black people, there is no anti-black hate crime bill, nothing like that. And we still want to believe that these people care and it's for us. I keep saying, you know, we that's the problem with belief. You have to stop believing. Look at what they do, right? Incarcerated black people for being hooked on crack. Create life-saving medicine to save white people who are being addicted to fentanyl and to save their life, right? Imagine that. That's how much they love their people. Right? And as they should. Right? As they should. But that's the problem when you don't own certain industries and certain businesses, right? Because you end up working for people who don't care about you and I. That's black people. But they'll have you working on life-saving measures to save their people. You know, Dr. Amos Wilson is the one that says, you know, look at these well-educated Negroes. They are so well-educated to solve other people's problems, but they can't even solve their own, right? That's the thing. They are so well-educated to serve other people's problem, but not their own. You know, and he said this decades ago. So you got to understand what it is that they're doing, how they're doing it. All right, there you go. So, understanding what it is that they do, exposing what it is that they do, speaking the truth, right? And that's to tell you how they hate the truth. When anybody speak the truth about white supremacy, white aggression, white destruction of other groups of people, white people turn around and you said, you know, you're a racist. They all do. All right, when I say they all, I mean the majority of them do. All right? The majority of them, the vast majority of them do. But they can lie to us about who we were, who we are, right? They can manipulate us into being who they want us to be, which is not good, of course. And we don't turn around and attack them and call them out for what it is that they're doing in mass. Then when we tell the truth about what it is that they're doing. As a matter of fact, we will go along with them to accuse one of our own who speaks the truth of being racist, without understanding that black people cannot be racist in a system that is inherently racist, created by one group of people to subjugate and oppress another group of people. Black people can never be racist. We can be bigoted, but most black people are not bigoted because we're too in love with white Jesus. Or we're too in love with whiteness to be bigoted. We always want to be accepted into white spaces that don't want us there. And those that are there are only there because they're being used as a tool to manipulate the rest of us. And you gotta understand that. So yeah, when they want to engage in such tactics, like I said, speak the truth, expose them. Because ultimately, my people is gonna wake up and see exactly the reality in front of their eyes. It has to take something or someone to open up the eyes of the masses to understand what is going on. Because if we love our children enough, we shouldn't even be participating with these things with them. We should not even be engaging, regardless of the fact that they call themselves Christians. Right? Because we know Negropeans will sit right next to a KKK member, right next to a racist, because they want to belong. Right? So they love white people more than they love Jesus. And Jesus was white, so he's a big part of the issue too. But yeah, they love white people, and how I can prove it. Right? Look how many black people wanted to join the Mormon church. Why would you? Why would you? And then their doctrine talks about how black people... Okay, what's going on here? You got sirens on this truck, huh? Who are you? Oh, it's a tow truck, okay. Right? We see black people wanted to join the Mormon church. Black people are always trying to join churches and organizations that don't like them. Right? That don't like them. Why? Why? You know, they're like puppies who are discarded, right? And want a new master, 322262. Right? That's the mindset. That's the mindset. When if you go and you read the Mormon doctrine, you know, was it 62262? Yeah. Get around here. All right. We read the Mormon doctrine about how black people came to be. It's not good. Do you understand? It is not good. In the Mormon doctrine, those that went with Lucifer turned black. So it was white people who turned black for going with Lucifer, right? And how the story goes is that, you know, the Elohim who from another planet was in search for a new planet to inhabit, and they found the planet Earth, and they asked who will go, and Lucifer volunteered, or Satan volunteered, and El, right? The Most High said no, we're going to send Jesus, right? And Lucifer got upset, and as he was leaving, he said to the other Elohims, who wants to come with me? And those that went with Lucifer, El turned them black, right? And black people will sue to join the Church of Mormon, these religious racist organizations, but not sue this racist state, this racist country, the racist police department, the racist FBI, the racist CIA, right? But they will sue to get into a religious organization. Do you understand that mindset? So when you look at the condition of your people, me as a black person, look at the condition of my people. and how lost we are. That we swear that we're holier than anybody else, and more than anybody else, but we do some of the most immoral things, right? We do it. We say that we believe in the Bible, we're God-fearing, but our action shows that we're not God-fearing, right? Our action shows that we are not God-fearing. Okay? So when they talk about they want a God-fearing man and God woman, ask them, are you truly God-fearing? And you look at them, right? And you watch what they do. And I'll tell you if they're God-fearing. Because like I said, it sounds good, right? It always sounds good. And when things become more cultural, without the positive cultural practices of whatever it is, but you practice the negative aspect of a certain, I wouldn't even say culture, but of a certain programming, without any self-awareness, any kind of self-awareness, any kind of understanding of what it is that you claim to believe in, you know, you're lost. That's why, like I said, black people, we've been lost, and we're going to continue to be lost until we start to go back to our African mystery system, or the African spiritual system. It has nothing to do with religion, but has everything to do with nature, science, you know, math, philosophy, you know, knowledge, so that you can elevate yourself and your people and each other. Not belief system. Belief system don't elevate you. It keeps you in a dogmatic quagmire of ignorance, stupidity, and arrogance. All right? Anyhow, I'll talk to you guys in this video.